This is a rehearsal run for a presentation that is going to be given for the Northeast Ohio PC Club on July 12th, 2017. It is their Christmas in July celebration. And the topic is going to be Windows 10. This is the fourth year in a row that Christmas in July will focus on Windows, and in particular Windows 10. During this presentation, there are a lot of you who are going to feel that I am anti-Microsoft or anti-Windows. This is a list of computer and computer-like things that are actually running in my house currently. Of the 25 devices, 17 of them could run Windows, and 12 of them actually are running Windows. So it's not that I'm not a Windows fan, it's just that Windows 10 has presented unique problems for end users because I help a lot of people with computers. I'm exposed to an awful lot of it. So I'm going to try and stay as positive and upbeat as I can. There are a lot of good things about Windows, and there are some current struggles, so we're going to talk about both. And again, this presentation is a reflection of my ideas, understanding, and personal use of computers. I don't do games, never have. I played solitaire once several years ago. That's the extent of my gaming on computers. I just don't. I'm not a social media user. I do have a Facebook and Twitter account, but those were for businesses that I owned, and I don't keep up with them anymore. So again, my point of view is maybe different. Learn how computers work. Yes, I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy solving problems with computers. I used to say there's never a problem that you can't solve. I found one or two that maybe contradict that. Your experience and the way you use computers may vary from mine, so some of this presentation you may take a different outlook than I do. During the presentation, you're going to see some slides that have this star up in the corner. That means that there is going to be a PDF available on the NEOPC forum, and it looks like this, and there are links to those pages. So if you want to read more about it or see it, read it again, understand it more clearly, you can go to the PDF, and these are all active links, so you just click on it and it'll take you to that particular page. So there's going to be a lot presented, and I'm sure some of you are going to want to go back over some of these things. Windows 10, the pros and the cons, and the I told you so's. This page appeared in a presentation that I gave last year at NEOPC on Windows 10, and it said, if you, 1, do not read instructions, 2, do not understand computer terms or are unwilling to look them up, or 3, have little or no patience, do not install Windows 10. That page appeared 4 times during the presentation. This also appeared, and last year there was a deadline to free install Windows 10. And during the presentation I said, once you have upgraded to 10, Microsoft issues a key to that computer. Rather than giving you a key, it gives the computer a key in that configuration, and that means you can install and reinstall Windows 10 anytime to that computer. Unless you are ready to deal with the many possible Windows 10 issues, you should revert. And at that point, you had 30 days to revert back to your previous operating system, whether it was 8.1 or 7. Those were the two that got the free Windows 10. I said you should revert back to those Absolutely. So that's all I'm going to say about the I told you so's. This is from a 2015 presentation I did about Microsoft and giving away Windows 10. In 2015, they made $93 billion profit. And a lot of that, probably about 40% of it, came from licensing of software. So it was really interesting to see that they were not going to charge for an operating system anymore, on a retail basis anyhow. So, the first thing you need to know now about Windows 10 is that the various versions, and since the introduction, which was 1507, they've had the anniversary update last year, and this year we have the Creator update. And now they are not going to support the original version of 10 that you updated to. They will no longer receive security updates or software patches and upgrades. So you need to, you are forced to move forward with Windows. So whatever they give you is what you're going to have. This one is a little scary to me. Windows says new processors will only work with Windows 10. So they've convinced the manufacturers to do something that will not allow current machines to install Windows 7 or Windows 8.1. And then the question begs, will Linux be allowed to be on these new processors? There hasn't been a whole lot written about that yet. Microsoft has controlled Linux's future in that regard for some time now when they went from the old BIOS to the new BIOS, UFEI, and they give Linux the key so that they can use the processor. It sounds like they're heading down a road where they may not, or they may charge for it. And then the question is, how is Linux going to collect for it? That's all yet to be seen. Windows 10s is something brand new, just introduced back in May, and some things about 10s. It won't let you change the default browser. It will be Edge, period. And it won't let you switch to Google for a search engine. Interesting. Some other things that it won't let you do is that it won't let you install anything on the computer that you didn't get from the Microsoft Store. Any software that you have that is not available in the Microsoft Store will not work on a computer that came with 10s. And what Microsoft is saying is because of that, the computer is going to run much faster and it's much more secure. You know, Microsoft verified security, and they're touting it quite strongly. And part of Tom's Guide, if you're familiar with fixing computers, you know about Tom's Guide, is a publication known as Laptop. And they published this article in the end of June, June 26th, that says, Secure Windows 10s hacked wide open in 3 hours. And they go on to explain that it really was not very secure. But Microsoft has convinced this list of computer manufacturers, Samsung, HP, Dell, Toshiba, Acer, Asus, Fujitsu, and Microsoft, to make computers that will come with 10s pre-installed. So they told us that Windows 10 was free and that they're really worried about the customers and everybody would have the same operating system, and this would be a good thing and make their life easier. But I wondered where they were going to make up that $40 billion that they were going to lose. Well, if you get a computer with 10S on it, you can't install any of your programs. For $50, they'll allow you to upgrade to 10 Professional, and then you can install these programs. But as you will see from this note that appeared, and you can read it in a variety of places, if you purchased Windows 10 Professional to use these settings to configure your PC the way you liked it, too bad, they're gone now. Who knows what convenient group, policy, or registry settings will be removed from future releases of Windows 10. So they could charge you the $50 and say you could do it, and then, oh, we've changed our mind, which they did once before on Windows 10 Professional. And they keep adding advertisements about their stuff that you can't get rid of. So maybe they found a way to make up for the lost revenues. Microsoft finally reveals what data Windows 10 collects. Everyone has been worried forever about all of the information that's being transmitted to Microsoft, who says it's really just about so we can improve your experience with Windows. So they put out a list of things that they were collecting, information that they were collecting, and at the end of the article it says, but there might be some other things. So you still don't know all that they're collecting. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about a personal experience I've had with installing updates with Windows 10. And this was an intermediate update that allowed you to install Anniversary Update. And a lot of this was going on recently because you can't install Creator without having installed Anniversary. So, from a personal experience, I kept getting a failure on this particular update, KB 4015217, and was just on one of my machines. And obviously I do a Google search and come up with almost 4,000 hits on why that particular thing won't install, and read a variety of them. And currently you get to this one. This is fairly recent, and it says, now this is a Microsoft Forum moderator on a Microsoft forum, so she is speaking for Microsoft, and she recommends that Frank Peck's post on April 14th regarding the failure of install of 4015217, that's probably the best way to fix it. So here is his solution on how to get that installed. So first thing you do is create a folder called Scratch, then you create another folder called Update, then you download the 4015217 update into that folder. Then you go to Updates, Security, Recovery, select Restart Now under Advanced Startup heading. The computer will reboot into Advanced Startup menu. Navigate to the option that allows you to run command prompts, so that you go to Troubleshoot, Advanced Options, Command Prompt. The computer will reboot once again, and you should see the familiar prompt X:window. When that appears, type the following. You type in this whole thing, and don't mess up when you're typing it, because it won't work if you do. And if you do that all correctly, lo and behold, it will install. So this was also published. You know that Microsoft says Microsoft is not currently aware of any issues with this update. really? When I got at this thing, which was before April, and did enough research on it, that particular update had actually been modified 4 times. It was the 3rd modification that I installed that finally worked for me. So, you know, we are all Microsoft testers now. So you're supposed to just know that there's going to be some rocky moments, and you're just going to have to work through it. I'm sure many of you would have a problem following through that entire procedure to get that update installed so you could get the next update. Again, if you do not read instructions, if you do not understand computer terms or are unwilling to look them up, have little or no patience, do not install Windows 10. Told you so. Tough. This is another one that just bothered me a whole lot. I'm sure you've all seen this photo icon. It comes pre-installed with Windows 10. Then I used it to view photos when you're looking at a ton of photos in a folder or whatever. It was a handy little program to do that with. But as I was doing this particular presentation, I do go online and grab photos and some videos and some other things. And all of a sudden I got a message that Windows had created an album for me. And some of these photos and videos were showing up in this album. I really, and this is from November 15th, so this has been going on for a long time. This is the first time it ever happened to me. So what was the trigger that caused Microsoft to start looking at the photos that I was gathering and putting them into an album for me? How nice of them. But anyhow, this was from a Microsoft forum, and this guy said he wanted to get rid of that and function of photo. And it said, sorry to inform you, there is no way to disable a Windows 10 photo app from automatically creating photo albums. And he said it was totally unacceptable, and 1,750 people were in total agreement with him. So now we're going to talk about what makes Windows 10 Creator the thing that you've been waiting for. Okay, let's talk about the Windows Creator update for Windows 10. This is a list of things that is being touted as the reasons that everyone has been waiting with bated breath for Creator. So we'll go through them one at a time, and remember, I'm not a gamer, so this may have certainly different appeals to different people. 3D for everyone. Well, that's everyone that uses their computer to make drawings with. And I'm not sure that that's a majority of folks, but anyhow. I did play with this. It's a new app that allows you to indeed make parts of your drawing three-dimensional looking. There is going to be a serious learning curve for those that are just novices to that type of technology. Could be fun. Different strokes for different folks. Mainstream augmented reality and virtual reality headsets. HoloGlass, Microsoft's version of these headsets that allow virtual reality. Augmented reality is really the main thing that Microsoft is selling their $500 headset for. And that allows you the easiest way to visualize this anyhow, is you put these things on, and if you're looking around your living room and you say, gee, that would look much better if I had a IKEA couch sitting right there. And you can do that with augmented reality. You can insert 3D things into what you're looking at. Works with your monitor. When you're looking at the internet, you could put things into things that you're seeing on the internet. This is perhaps a little advanced of where the real technology is at today, but it's going in that direction, and sooner or later it's going to be part of all of our lives, I'm sure. Nightlight. This is interesting. They have determined that, and it's pretty well known, that computer monitors put out a fair amount of blue light, and they feel that blue light interferes with your ability to go to sleep. So you can set when you want the computer to start cutting back on blue light, at what time. So if you're looking at the monitor before you go to bed, it'll have less and less blue light on it, and you should have a better night's sleep. That's a positive thing. I don't know how many people it really affects, but that's a positive thing for sure. Game mode and game settings are improved. That's what they tell me. So if you're a gamer, going to get better. Game broadcasting for Windows 10 and Xbox One, so you're able to send what you're doing onto a different monitor or television or something. Other PC gaming improvements. So obviously they focused a lot on gamers, because those are people that are spending money today. So to understand why they're focusing there. Microsoft Edge improvements. They've been improving this thing for the better part of a decade, and they just can't ever seem to get it right. Every once in a while I take a peek at it and see if it's improved a lot or not, and I'm still using Chrome. Although if I get a computer with 10S, you can't load Chrome on it. So anyhow, we'll see how that goes. I'm sure there'll be lots of articles written about Microsoft Edge. There always are. Cortana features. So I have a house that I use Cortana. I use Siri. I use Alexa. And I use OK Google. And they all have different strong points. Cortana is pretty good and has won some head-to-head contests that I've seen published and whatever. It just depends on what device I'm using and where I'm at in my house or whatever, what I use. They're all going to get better. That's the way we're going to be using computers in the future. We're going to talk to them. We're not going to type in. We're going to talk to them. More control over Windows updates, mostly, sort of, kind of, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Changes to the privacy settings, and I've looked at that, and that really is more surface than actual. And they've improved geeky stuff. And if you're a geek, you'll know what it is, and if you're not, you don't really care. So that's the major highlights in what Creator is going to be, and why you're going to have to install it, because sooner or later, and it's going to be sooner, Anniversary will no longer be getting security updates and patches. So it said more control over Windows updates mostly. And in your settings advanced options, it says choose how updates are installed. Give me updates for other Microsoft products when I update Windows, and that's like probably Microsoft Office and things of that nature, some of the gaming things certainly. Include driver updates when I update Windows, and here Microsoft is changing a lot of things that they're going to force peripheral manufacturers and software manufacturers in some cases to update drivers to work with Windows 10, and that is worrisome, and Microsoft controls that. And I'm not recommending you keep that box checked, and we'll talk about driver updates here in a second. Use my sign-in info to automatically finish setting up my device after an update. That means if you have a Microsoft login, it actually will update all of your devices. It kind of balances them all out, and that one's up to you. You need to check on the Learn More and read about it and see what you think. Now down at the bottom here, this only used to be available in 10 Pro, but now they've got it here, and you can put off installing updates for up to 35 days, which I heartily recommend, because we are the testers now for Microsoft. When the updates originally come out, they haven't really been tested well on a variety of different setups, types of computer with different software running and so on. So in 35 days, typically they are tweaking it depending on the screams that they hear from the field. And you're better off to update at the end of when an update is available than at the beginning. But this is a little deceptive. It says pause updates is off. So no, we're not pausing updates. You have to turn it on to turn them off. Anyhow. One of the links that I've given you here will get you some additional information on creators. What is the new game mode in Windows Creator Update and so on. So you can use those links to fill in what I didn't talk about for you. Okay, in the past I've mentioned Lynda.com. Lynda.com has been around a lot of years and has training courses. Originally it was on just computer things, but has moved into a lot of other types of training that they have. Early on when I was involved in this, I would buy courses and they were like $200 or $300. They've changed their business model since then. But anyhow, there are 10 courses at Lynda.com about Windows 10, and they involve 562 different video tutorials. They have one on Windows 10 Creator Update, the Essential Training. It's an 8-hour course. They break it up into much smaller videos, obviously. But Lynda has always done a great job. Now, I have not seen this, so I can't tell you specifically whether this is a great one or not, but based on the reviews and past history with Lynda, it is excellent. So, if you were just, you didn't come to this meeting and didn't know about this, and you wanted to learn from Lynda, you'd pay $19.99 a month, and it gives you unlimited access to their 5,977 courses, which is a good deal, actually. But the better deal is through the Westlake Public Library. You can get it for free. So if you have a library card, you can get a PIN number, and you log on to Lynda.com, enter that information, and you can get these courses for free. And this page, and there's a link to this page, goes into the details of how to get the PIN number and resetting your PIN and so on and so on. Only real hiccup here might be there are only 20 at a time are allowed on for each Lynda. The library pays a fee for this service, and that was the fee that they negotiated for 20. But for those that haven't tried Lynda, and Windows 10 Creator is just one thing. It's just amazing all that's available here. What a great service, and what a great thing the library is doing for its patrons. Another one that's free is Mark Ruttinger. He has free Windows 10 learning courses that are available on the internet. I've got a link for that. Certainly nowhere near as in-depth or as professional, I would say, but very good for free. So if Linda's busy, I'll give you an alternate place to take a look. And there is a link in that PDF that's available on the NEOPC forum. So again, personal experience. Many of my computers have gone to Creator. Two of the main ones that we use have not. Lenore's computer got stuck trying to install Windows Creator at 89%, and it appears 89, 88 is the magic number. There were almost 40,000 hits, and this thing has only been going on since early April in regards to this particular problem. There's no fix listed, actually. Basically, when it goes and it gets stuck at 89, it just stays there and it spins and spins and spins. And I have always been very hesitant to hit the power button at that particular point. There was a time when if you were in the middle of an update from Microsoft and you did that, you could have disastrous results. In this case, nothing happens other than it restores back to anniversary. That's what happens when you push the power button. And then it tells you to do it again. Now, I'm not sure that they've got this 100% ready to go yet, but we'll see. But again, when you see 40,000 hits on the internet about it, you know that there's an issue out there. So after you choose not to do this again, Windows doesn't give up. They want to install this thing, pushing you forward constantly. So at any time you can, when this pops up, this blue window pops up, you can click restart now. It's all loaded up, ready to go to try and install this thing. If it didn't install the first time, I'm not sure why it might the second time, but okay. So you can click restart now, and it will try and install the Creator update again. You can pick a time, and if you're going to do that, pick it in the middle of the night, so that, and again, most of these updates are taking a very long time as opposed to what they used to take anyhow. So pick a time in the middle of the night if you're going to do that. Or you can choose snooze, which gives you 3 days before they're going to bug you again to install this thing. I've got two computers that I've been snoozing now, probably a week and a half or 2 weeks, in hopes that they're going to issue a patch or something that will make this thing work. So we will see if they're successful at that. So before I said that you want to uncheck the drivers to let Microsoft install new drivers for you when they're doing updates. You can do that. I've heard some people that have some problems when they're doing that. This program is a great little program called Slim Drivers, and it is free. Now, they do have a pay-for version of this. The pay-for version is all automatic, and if you have like 10 drivers, it just will install all 10 of them. And it actually gets the driver directly from the manufacturer of the piece of hardware or whatever is being updated, whether it's a chipset or whatever it is. That's where it comes from. And it's free. The free version, you have to install them one at a time, and if you got a lot of them to do, you're going to be there a couple hours. So most people just go ahead and spend, and I don't know what it is. I think it's $29 or thereabouts. But it's up to you which way you want to go with it. But this is what I would recommend for updating your drivers, because Chen is going to be changing drivers a lot. So when you get stuck with a problem with your computer doing updates, you need to search for help. And you need to know what to put down. You need more information is better, but you need to be brief. So the pertinent words rather than a lot of ands and uhs and thes and these and whatevers are what you want to do. You describe what does or does not happen when you this or that, or your computer this or that. How often does this happen? Every time you this or that, or when you turn it on or turn it off, or when you open a program or whatever. What message do you get? Does a window pop up? Do you get a something from the information center? What happened? Do you get, what kind of message do you get about this problem? Have you recently installed something? And that can be, there's some things that automatically install, some thumb drives and portable hard drives or Polycoms, or there are a lot of things that actually automatically install, but you might want to mention that if it just, the problem just popped up after you recently installed something. Has something recently been updated, a program, a driver, or an operating system? What peripherals are involved? Does it just involve your printer? Does it involve a video camera? Is it your speakers? What's involved in it? The exact operating system. And when you're saying Windows 10 anymore, you've got to tell them whether it's 1507 or 16, whatever it is, you have to tell them which one it is. And is your system a 32 or 64-bit system? Now, do you love Google and or Bill Gates? Tell them so. Now, just joking about that, but they are watching and listening, so it can't hurt to put that in there. No, I'm just joking. Sort of. Okay, so I put this one in. I don't have a problem with my HP 6940. It works very well, but I put this in just to see what would happen if I put this in. And I came up with almost 4,500 results on that. So maybe it is a problem, but it seems to work for me okay. Anyhow, I checked through, and as you come through this, finally it tells you that you're going to need to put in ePrint Plus or Jet Advantage, which is dollars. And again, you know, it makes me wonder, as Microsoft is changing things with Windows 10, if, you know, HP pays Microsoft a lot of money to be certified and all that sort of stuff. Is there some reciprocity involved? Pushing people into some other things? Don't know. And maybe I'm way off base saying it, but anything is possible. So the question is, how much longer will your PC and its peripherals be usable in the form that you want them to be? Again, they're building processors now that only work with Windows 10 and so on and so on. So we need to be aware of what's going on. As far as printers are concerned, this particular page will take you here, and the major manufacturers of printers are listed, and their Windows 10 support, if you click on these active links, will take you to their Windows 10 support. And you can learn more about whether your printer is compatible or not. There is a Direct Windows 10 Compatibility Center by Microsoft. I prefer to go to the manufacturer of the printer. Personal preference. So finally, I want to talk about black screens. After installing an update, a lot of times when you reboot, you see nothing but a black screen. And when you go on the internet and look, there are almost 15 million hits in regards to black screen problems after installing updates. And it's not just a creator update, but it's the anniversary. And this problem goes back quite a ways. but is becoming much, much more prevalent. And certainly in my house, it's not a problem because I have other computers I can look at. If you don't, and your computer doesn't show you anything but a black screen, probably a problem for you. So I want to talk about what you would do if that happens to you. And being prepared ahead of time is certainly what you want to be. Okay, there are a lot of things written about what happens when your computer won't boot, what happens with a black screen. I've listed some of them in that PDF so you can go look at them yourself and figure out what to do. Black screen after creators update, and this is actually on a Microsoft blog, and the solution here says when you boot up and you get a black screen, push the power button during the Windows boot. Once it stops again, start it again, push the power button during the Windows boot, turn it off again, start it again, push the power button during the Windows boot, and on the third time, it should go to the recovery partition and give you the option to sort of fix your problem. But at least you'll get back into the system. That's the solution that is given here. And there were people that say it did work. So, okay. This is something I believe everyone should do. I've done this forever, but again, that's because I'm somewhat of a computer geek. And I can do it. The interesting thing, when you create a recovery disk, it's not totally specific to the computer you're making it from. It probably will work on other ones. Now, the repair disk will work on any one. Windows 10, either 32-bit or 64-bit, will work on any 32 or 64. And if you haven't made one of those, you should make one of those. But this is a recovery disk or system repair or reset. The preferable way is to make this on a thumb drive, because it takes about 8 gigs or maybe even a little more. So you really do need about a 16 gig thumb drive to make one of these things. And it's got drivers on it. It's got a variety of things on it that if your machine is really cooked, you'll be able to get it running again, hopefully. So anyhow, making one of these is not that big of a deal. The instructions are here. You can get a 16 gig thumb drive about anywhere. This is Walmart has them for $9 or $7.97. You can get one from Office Depot, Office Max for $6.99. So they're not expensive things. I would buy a fairly decent one if I were you. If you have USB 3 ports, make sure you get a USB 3. Although USB 2 will work on it, it's just going to be quicker process, certainly. And once you've made these things, they are, you should keep it just for that purpose. Put it in a drawer someplace, label it so you know what it is, and if you ever need it, you'll be really glad that you have it. Booting into safe mode is something that a lot of the fixes for a lot of the problems are going to tell you to do, and you should know how to do it. Typically, if you need to boot into safe mode, you can't get on the internet to look up how to boot into safe mode. So figure it out ahead of time. Write it down someplace if you must, or whatever, try to remember it. But prior to 10, it was was one way to get in there and now it's different. So you need to make sure that you're familiar with how to get into safe mode. That disables a lot of things in Windows and on your computer. So it allows you to start the computer and then to track down what your problem may be. And again, I'm not trying to make you folks into geeks that are watching this thing. It's just that these problems are going to be cropping up more often than they used to. And if it crops up on your computer, I don't want you to panic. I want you to be able to handle it. This is just an interesting article about, and it lists many of the typical things that happen to computers with automatic updates. The link is there to read it if you care to. So, those of you that didn't revert back to your previous Windows version, whether it was 8.1 or 7, after 30 days you can't. It's gone. You can't get back into the old. I say that there's some hacks that may or may not allow you in there. You may want to try those first. Or this is a fairly reliable, honest, upfront company that you can buy a copy of Windows 7 Professional. You'd have to erase your hard drive and start all over again. It is a download, so you'd have to, in some of my previous videos, I've told you how to make an ISO disk, and you'd have to make an ISO disk from the download and reinstall Windows 7. Now that makes you good until 2020, and who knows where Windows is going to be by 2020. I don't know. It's obviously changing and moving, and Windows 7 is pretty much trouble-free. It is the most popular of all of the Windows platforms currently in terms of customer favorability. It's just an option. It's a $43 option, but it is an option. So, whether you're a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, or just an average computer user, be prepared. Or Windows 10 might just get you. Remember, I'm just a messenger here tonight. I'm trying to have you ready for what could happen to you now that you're a Microsoft tester. We hope not, but if the worst does happen, at least you'll know what to do and how to get back started again. Remember, I'm just a messenger. Anyhow, Windows 10. Questions? I'm sure some of you must have questions. And those that are guests this evening, here's some reasons why you might want to belong to our club. If nothing else, to hear about the latest on Windows 10.